was up for a little Champions League versus Europa League competition on FC26. Every year, the football world has the same conversation. Which football clubs are better? The ones that are participating in the Champions League or the ones in the Europa League? So today on FC26, we're gonna find out exactly that, my friends. 16 of the best Champions League clubs go head-to-head and up against 16 of the best Europa League clubs. And at the end of it all, we will find out who will lift the UCL versus UEL title. My dear friends, if you do enjoy the content and if you're a supporter of the videos that we put out on the channel, please do me a favor, hit the like button for me and the subscribe button with the little noti bell. It would mean a lot to me. 25-26 UCL versus 25-26 UEL. Let's go. The 16 champions clubs that will be representing the UCL are as follows, starting with, of course, PSG. Next one up, we got Real Madrid. Will they win the UCL this year? Bayern Munich, they're in. Arsenal, they're in as well. How about Man City and Inter Milan from Italy? Barcelona, they look insane. Lamine Yamal is 89 overall. Your FIFA Club World Cup winners, Chelsea. Your Italian winners of last season, Napoli, with McTominay, who's 85, Lukaku, 84, De Bruyne, 87, and Rasmus Højlund is on the bench. Back to Germany, Borussia Dortmund. And back to Spain as club number 11, Atletico Madrid. For Champions League club number 12, we go back to Italy, Juventus. Will we forget about Liverpool? Absolutely not. They are club number 13. With club number 14 being Bayer Leverkusen. 15 will be the New Look Spurs with Xavi Simons and Randall Kolo Muani. And 16 will be Newcastle United with Walter Made and Wissa on the bench. Now we go to the 16 Europa League clubs. The first one will be the struggling IRL Aston Villa. They look so good, but they can't seem to score in the Premier League. And sticking with the Premier League, club number 2 will be Nottingham Forest. For Europa League club number 3, we are going to Turkey. It is Fenerbahce. Club number 4 to Italy, Roma. Europa League club number 5 to Spain, Real Betis with the GOAT, Anthony, who's now 81 overall in FC26. The guy is absolutely killing it over there. We head to Germany for Europa League club number 6, and it will be Stuttgart. With Europa League club number 7 being Lyon from France. And Lille from France as well as club number 8. Bologna will be club number 9. And Celtic, who failed to qualify for the Champions League, will be club number 10. Another club from Scotland, Rangers, club number 11. For Europa League clubs number 12 and 13, we are going to Greece. We're going to have PAOK and Panathinaikos. Back to France for club number 14, it will be Nice with the fastest center back in the game, the Canadian Moise Bombito. Say hello to your 15th Europa League club from Portugal. It will be Porto. And the last and final Europa League club, it will come from Croatia. It will be Dinamo Zagreb. We know our 16 UCL clubs. We know our 16 UEL clubs. Now we have to seed them into 8 groups of 4. And if you've been around for a while, you'll know that each group will have 2 Champions League clubs and 2 Europa League clubs. That way, the UCL and UEL clubs face each other right away. They play each other in the group stage matches, and we're gonna see who advances to the round of 16. Let's find our 2 Champions League clubs that are going into Group A. I know that the lucky pot of gold will not disappoint. 3, 2, 1. They are Spurs and Bayern Munich. Harry Kane will face his former club. What did I tell you about the lucky pot of gold? It just knows what we want to see. And now the 2 Europa League clubs that will also go into Group A with Spurs and Bayern Munich, and they are Lille and Rangers. Can Lille and Rangers get out of a group with Spurs and Bayern Munich? I'm not sure, but we're gonna find out. Back to the Champions League draw we go. 2 Champions League clubs for Group B, and they will be PSG and Bayer Leverkusen. And to join PSG and Bayer Leverkusen from the Europa League, it will be Lyon and Real Betis. Will Anthony do some damage in this group? Off to Group C. 2 UCL clubs for Group C, and they will be Manchester City and Atletico Madrid. Which 2 Europa League clubs will join Man City and Atletico Madrid in Group C? Aston Villa and Celtic. You know what? Maybe Aston Villa can do something here. Maybe Celtic too. Group D is calling our name. The 2 UCL clubs that will go into Group D, Arsenal and Liverpool, 2 Premier League clubs. Now, I do feel a little sad for the Europa League clubs that will have to go into this group because Arsenal and Liverpool are very strong on paper, and they will be Nottingham Forest and Fenerbahce, man. Forest might be able to progress, and maybe Fenerbahce. I would not count them out. We're halfway done seeding all our Champions League clubs and Europa League clubs. We're going to Group E. The 2 UCL clubs clubs, it will be Chelsea and Juve. Who will join Chelsea and Juve from the Europa League? Panathinaikos and Roma. This group is also completely insane. Group F, 2 UCL clubs, Napoli and Inter Milan, both Italian, and 2 Europa League clubs for Group F, Stuttgart and Dinamo Zagreb. I don't know if Dinamo Zagreb has a chance, but I think Stuttgart does. The second last group, Group G, the 2 Champions League clubs, Real Madrid and Borussia Dortmund. With the 2 Europa League clubs joining them, Nice and Porto. Yeah. Real Madrid probably takes first, but maybe between Dortmund, Nice, and Porto, there will be a very nice battle. And the last and final group, my friends, the last 2 Champions League clubs that are going into Group H, Newcastle and Barcelona. Well, what do you know? And they will be joined by Bologna and PAOK. The group stage matches are about to begin, my friends. Everybody will play each other, 2 Champions League clubs, 2 Europa League clubs, as we seeded them into the same group. Who will advance? You guys let me know. Do Europa League clubs stand a chance? And if they do, which ones? Okay, guys, the group stage matches are completed. Let's see which Champions League clubs progress to the round of 16 and maybe which Europa League clubs also progress to the round of 16. Maybe some Champions League clubs will be eliminated. I'm not 100% sure. Let's start with Group A. Bayern Munich and Spurs, they finished top 1-2. Lille, they did win a match. Rangers went 0-3, but 2 Europa League clubs are eliminated. Lille and Rangers, they're both gone. We go to Group B, and it was close. It was a very competitive group, but ultimately the 2 Champions League clubs in PSG and Bayer Leverkusen do progress. Lyon finished on 4 points, equal on points with Bayer Leverkusen, but Leverkusen just had a better goal difference. And Betis, they finished on 3 points, falling 1 point short. In Group C, the 2 Champions League clubs progress once again. Man City, then it is Atletico Madrid on 4 points, and Celtic, and disappointing with Aston Villa, also only on 3 points, just like Celtic, bottom of the group. So they're struggling in the Premier League, and here in FC26, they can't progress out of a Champions League versus Europa League competition either. We go to Group D, and this is our first surprise. Liverpool, the Champions League club, they finished top, 3 wins from 3, but in second place, it is Fenerbahce, guys. Fenerbahce from the Europa League, followed by Nottingham Forest, also from the Europa League. Yeah, they're going to be eliminated. But Arsenal, 0-1-2 on 1 point, bottom of this group. So 1 UCL club in Arsenal and 1 UEL club in Forest are eliminated, with Fenerbahce and Liverpool progressing. And in Group E, more surprises, more shocks. It is Juventus that finishes top, a Champions League club on 3 points, followed by a Europa League club, but another Italian club in Roma on 6 points. Chelsea, a UCL club, is eliminated. Panathinaikos, they went 0-3. Europa League club also eliminated. Group F, my goodness. Napoli, top on 7 points, followed by Stuttgart. Remember we said Stuttgart might have a chance? Yeah. Inter Milan finished bottom of the group on 1 point. They bottled it just like Arsenal. I cannot believe it. They finished below Dinamo Zagreb. Inter didn't show up, man. They drew with Dinamo Zagreb 2-2. Then they lost to Stuttgart 3-1. And they lost to Napoli 2-1. Honestly, Inter, that's a terrible performance. Group G, the 2 Champions League clubs do progress, but Real Madrid does not top this group, and maybe that could cause complications later. Dortmund tops the group. Real Madrid only finished in second with Nice and Porto. Nice was decent on 3 points. Porto were horrible. And finally, the last group, Group H, it is once again 2 Champions League clubs that do progress in Barcelona and Newcastle United. Bologna and PAOK, I mean, I guess they stayed competitive. Bologna did win a match. PAOK did not. They drew one. So these are the knockout fixtures in the round of 16. Not a lot of Europa League clubs left, guys. It will be Napoli versus Newcastle United. Barcelona will take on Bayer Leverkusen. Dortmund will take on Spurs. So all 3 of those matchups are Champions League versus Champions League clubs. Then we have our first Champions League versus Europa League clash. It is PSG versus Fenerbahce. Liverpool will take on Atletico Madrid. Bayern Munich face Real Madrid, while Man City face another Europa League side in Roma. And the final matchup will be UCL versus UEL, Juve versus Stuttgart. Let's start figuring things out. Napoli, they're facing Newcastle, but Rahmani and Di Lorenzo, guys, they're on red cards, so they missed the match. Maybe Newcastle. Can Newcastle? Will Newcastle? They will not. Lukaku does Newcastle, guys. He eliminates Newcastle United. Napoli is through. And maybe Newcastle should have done better. They had more possession, more shots, more chances. They didn't score. The Stag Barcelona versus a new look Bayer Leverkusen, who will advance Barcelona through Robert Lewandowski in the 13th minute. Spurs versus Dortmund, a pretty good tilt. One match. Who will advance to the quarters? Borussia Dortmund. Man, they're cooking in this video. Xavi Simons opened up the scoring. It was a very even game, 50% possession, but Spurs really didn't do anything else. They only had 2 shots. Our first Champions League versus Europa League knockout fixture, PSG versus the post-era of Jose Mourinho and Fenerbahce. Oh, I thought Fenerbahce might have a chance, and they did have a chance. It was 2-2 with only 20 minutes to play, but of course, Ousmane Dembele scored the 3rd one for PSG, and another Europa League team is no more. Liverpool versus Atletico Madrid. Liverpool is stacked, guys, and they should be winning this one. 7 goals, man. What an entertaining one. I would buy a ticket for that. 2 goals in the first 10 minutes. Llorente, Salah, then McAllister and Sorloth, then it's Isak, then it's Griezmann, then it's Szoboszlai in extra time. And Liverpool narrowly get the job done. Harry Kane versus Mbappe. Remember we said that Real Madrid might have some complications finishing in 2nd in their group. And well, yeah, here you go. They gotta face Bayern Munich. Can they get by Bayern Munich? Yes, they can get by Bayern Munich through Bellingham and Vinny Jr. Bayern Munich with Harry Kane once again disappoint. Will we have a Europa League side in the last 8, guys? There's not many left. I think it's only 2, Roma and Stuttgart, and Roma has to play Manchester City. Marmoush is out with an injury, so he has to be replaced. Can Roma? They can't. There goes another Europa League side, man. Man City 1-0. This is really not going well at all for the Europa League clubs, man. The last one standing, it's Stuttgart, and they gotta beat Juventus to keep representing the Europa League. Can they do it? No, that's it. All the Europa League clubs are out in the round of 16. Juve 3-1 over Stuttgart through Gatti. Conceição with a brace. Stiller did score for Stuttgart, but you can see that it was not even close. 41% possession. 2 chances creating. Juventus completely dominated from start to finish. I mean, maybe that's why it's called the Europa League, because it's not the Champions League. We have 8 clubs left, and they're all from the UCL. Napoli versus Barca, Dortmund versus PSG, Real Madrid versus Liverpool, and Man City versus Juve, guys. I'm sorry that all the Europa League clubs disappointed you. They disappointed me too, but we still gotta figure out who would win this competition if it was like this. We start our journey to get to the semifinals. Napoli versus Barcelona. Okay, well, you see, I knew something's gonna happen. Lukaku and Politano. That's insane. That's a crazy result, man. Barcelona goes out to Napoli in the last 8. Will Borussia Dortmund keep on rolling against PSG? That is a tough ask. And no, it will be PSG. Fabian Ruiz in the 3rd minute. They held on. This is a large one, guys. Liverpool versus Real Madrid. Liverpool really built a solid team, but Real Madrid is Real Madrid. But Real Madrid get absolutely destroyed. Okay, wow. I thought it's going to be at least a bit closer. Frimpong, Isak, Szoboszlai, it's 3-0. Real Madrid says bye-bye. Yo, what the heck just happened here? Marmoush is still injured for Man City, but that didn't stop them in the last 16. Can they get to the semifinals now? Get by this tricky Juventus side. They can through Savinho, and Savinho scores twice. The Canadian Jonathan David scores. He got one back, but then they ran out of time. Juventus had a really good game. They competed, but it just wasn't good enough, was it? Definitely some surprises here in the last 4. Napoli versus PSG and Liverpool versus Manchester City. I guess the surprise would have to be Napoli and maybe Manchester City as well, because they're not as strong as some of the other clubs. And let me tell you, Romelu Lukaku is the leading goal scorer from the 4 clubs that are left. He only has 4 goals in 5 matches. Who else is left here? Anyone? Mo Salah, he's got 3 in 5. Matteo Politano's got 3. Ousmane Dembele has 3. And Alexander Isak has 3. Will Napoli get to this final with this lineup and upset the former Champions League winners in Paris Saint-Germain? Can they do it? Will they do it? No, they won't. It's McTominay. McTominay, he missed the penalty. How could you, my brother? It was 2-1 after the first 45. De Bruyne made it 2-2. And then Rahmani in the 84th made it 3-2 for Napoli. They just had to hold on for like 6 minutes plus stoppage time. But Kvicha put the ball at his feet and took care of it. He equalized it in the 85th. It went to extra time. It went to penalties. And and Mr. Scott McTominay eliminated Napoli. So PSG is off to the Champions League versus Europa League final to play a Champions League club because there's no Europa League clubs left. Liverpool built a squad to get to these types of moments and to perform in these types of matches. To get to the final, to be able to lift some silverware, they have to get by Manchester City in the semis to go and face PSG. Can they do it? Will they do it? Yes, they can. Yes, they will, guys. And it's an unlikely one. It's McAllister with a brace. Foden equalized, McAllister in extra time. Manchester City is gone. Our Champions League clubs versus Europa League clubs final will have two UCL clubs, Liverpool versus PSG. And maybe, just maybe, this is a precursor of what the Champions League final this season IRL would look like. Two extremely strong and competitive clubs. They have quality in the starting 11, quality on the bench, quality managers. This one's gonna be a fun watch. UCL versus UEL. Unfortunately, like we said, there's no UEL clubs that made a D, but we have an absolute banger of a final, guys. Liverpool versus PSG. The player to watch apparently is Desiree Doué. So let's see what happens as Liverpool kick off. They are in the traditional red and PSG are in their white with the blue stripe across the chest. Let me know if you think this is a preview, a precursor of the actual IRL Champions League final. Will this happen? Will Liverpool lift the Champions League? Will PSG go back-to-back? I want to hear from you in the comments as Liverpool progress into PSG's territory through McAllister. He was brilliant. Remember, he scored that brace and he forces a corner. Liverpool has an early corner in the 8th minute. They will go short to Isak. Remember what Isak did for Newcastle back in the day? Well, back in the day, not long ago, on the sidelines, as he weaved through several players. João Neves, Doué, the player to watch. Hakimi will go central. Dembele, dink it out wide to Doué. Massive upgrade in FC26 for Desiree Doué, by the way. João Neves, classy player. Doué, absolute class. Centrally once again to Fabian Ruiz. PSG, they're looking strong. They're looking good. Great response. Doué. And now it's going to be PSG with the corner. Listen to that crowd. It is deafening in here. It's so loud, guys. Would you want to see a Champions League final like this? Mendes. PSG also goes short. Into the box. Ruiz. Vitinha. Will he have a crack? No, it'll go to Alisson. What happened? Oh, it's going to be a foul. And now, here we go. It's Doué on the ball. Doué! Magnificent! He really put everything behind that one. He was the player to watch. And now all eyes are on Desiree Doué. Just brilliant. Brilliant. Over the wall. Oh, Isak, you should have jumped. Why didn't you jump? Look, he doesn't jump. He just turns. If you jump, it doesn't go in. But you can't take anything away from Desiree Doué's finish there. PSG 1-0 up. Oh my. We said it's going to be a good watch, and it has not disappointed. 23 minutes in, we have an absolute cracker. A banger of a goal. A stunner, guys. A screamer from Desiree Doué. And now Liverpool are looking for a response through Gakpo. Disappointing pass from Cody Gakpo. It goes to Chevalier, who replaced Donnarumma. And Chevalier came from Lille, an outstanding goalkeeper. It'll be Liverpool's throw-in. Gakpo will take it. He'll go centrally to Wirtz. Nice touch back to Gakpo. McAllister. Gakpo once again. He's onside. He is offside. The build-up play is there for Liverpool, though. They have the quality to get right back into this one. Can they break that back line of PSG's, though, and their midfield? Wirtz on the ball. Weaving. Going through. Not great from Wirtz. Not great. Nuno Mendes. Vitinha. Dembele in the midfield. He picks up the pace. Desiree Doué once again lays it off to Marquinhos. Oh my goodness, that's a terrible challenge. Surely a yellow. And it's Kirkes again, who has had some troubles since he's moved to Liverpool. And he is showing his frustration there. That bro, maybe even should have been a red, to be honest with you. Fabian Ruiz. Shielding off. Vitinha. Vitinha moving forward. Edge of the box. Fabian Ruiz. Neves is in space. Oh! There's no way. There's no way. Alisson. How did he save that? That's insane. A corner for PSG. Another one, and Alisson collects. Alisson just saved Liverpool's chances of winning this one. Because if it's 2-0, I think it's over. That was a monumental save. It's a save that will go down into the history books if Liverpool can win this game. We're going to talk about that save for a very, very long time as halftime is called. Wow, incredible action in that first 45, guys, and it's 1-0 PSG going into the second 45. Are you excited as I am for the second half to begin, guys? Because that first 45 was incredible. Yeah. Kvicha, Vitinha. PSG start with the ball, looking to double their lead. Back to Hakimi, calm. Marquinhos. João Neves to Fabian Ruiz. Nuno Mendes. Back into the midfield it goes. Ruiz, he's been operating very well there. Making great passes. Shielding the ball well. Finding the wingers. I like how PSG is playing. Calm. Very calm. The build-up play is very, very nice. Very nice. It's good football. It's very good football. Look at this. Look at this. They're very patient. Vitinha. Looking for the open man every single time. Gravenberch. Back to Wirtz in space. Liverpool also playing good football. They need to get Mo Salah into the game. There is Salah. A burst of speed. Salah. Pacho has his number, but it does go out for a corner. Great defensive play. They will go short once again. Wirtz to Isak on the touchline. Isak cannot get around Kvicha Kvaratskhelia, and he will play a wonderful ball to Nuno Mendes as he is tackled. Nuno Mendes. Forward he goes. He'll find Dembele. It's a 2-on-1. Dembele is in. Dembele! Dembele! It's Dembele. It's 2-0, and I think it's over. It's PSG. They've been the better team the entire time, and they probably deserve to be 2-0 up. Liverpool has not tested Chevalier at all, and you can always count on Ousmane Dembele to score from there. Alisson has kept Liverpool in this game, but he cannot save that one, guys. Everything has fallen apart for Liverpool. In the 70th minute, it's 2-0, and really, now they have to start pointing fingers. Maybe Kirkes, maybe Isak, maybe Wirtz, maybe Salah, who's been really invisible in this one. There's just nothing doing for Liverpool, and they need 2 goals in a very, very short span of time here. But it just doesn't look like they can get through their midfield and the back line. Look at that, Vitinha. Oh, guys, Ruiz and Vitinha in that midfield have been just outstanding. Pacho, Marquinhos, Hakimi. It's quality football from PSG. They're finding the spaces. Look at this. Oh, it's Kvicha. Might get embarrassing here. Kvicha! Brilliant. Brilliant. Mesmerizing from Kvicha Kvaratskhelia. It's complete and utter domination. Complete and utter collapse for Liverpool. On his left, Kvicha picks a corner. 3-0. What a scoreline. What a performance by PSG. Not sure what happened with Wirtz, with Isak, with Gakpo, with Salah in this one. They just couldn't cope. They cannot break through the midfield and the back line. The ref has given them every opportunity. That's a terrible ball by Wirtz, man. The ref will blow his whistle now. He should. How can you add 1 minute and then we're in the 98th? There it is. There it is. He gave Liverpool every chance in the world, guys. It is Paris Saint-Germain. The player to watch was Desiree Doué, and he opened up the scoring. Alisson, Becker, and Kirkes are, of course, extremely disappointed. Alisson did everything he could. He really did. But I think his team really let him down. We began with 16 Champions League clubs and 16 Europa League clubs. The Europa League clubs did not do so well. No, they did not. Stuttgart, Fenerbahce, and Roma, they were very competitive. Everyone else really got eliminated during the group stage matches. It was down to the last state. All Champions League clubs down to 4, down to 2. It was Liverpool versus PSG, and PSG, they were impressive, weren't they? And this is why they lift this trophy. Champions League versus Europa League clubs on FC26. It goes to Paris Saint-Germain. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other, guys. Stay happy, stay healthy. Always keep smiling. And you know what? Maybe we should do Europa League versus Conference League clubs. I am not sure it would be as straightforward for Europa League clubs as it was here for Champions League clubs. But let me know what you think. Peace, 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 peace. I love you as always. Peace.